OLF's next session, which is the conversation of Bhaskar Parichha with Madam Ileana Citaristi.
Ileana Citaristi କୌଣସି ପରିଚୟ ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ସେ ନିଜେ ତାର ପରିଚୟ ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କ କାମ ହିଁ ତାଙ୍କ ପରିଚୟ ଆମେ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଏଇ ଡିସ୍କସନଟାକୁ ଇଂଲିଶ ଆଉ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଭିତରେ ଅଲ୍ଟରନେଟ୍ କରିବୁ ତ ଯେହେତୁ ଭାଷାର ସେଟା ଅଛନ୍ତି Ileana madam has been part of Bhubaneswar's cultural circuit for the last 40 years. As you might be knowing, she is basically Italian, but she is more an Odia, more an Indian. She has been dancing for the last couple of decades. What's more about her is that she's a dancer, she's a teacher, she's an author, and also she has acted in films. So all taken together, her personality is something to be envied. Let me begin asking back about your childhood in Italy.
Namaskar. Just one small correction. I am part of the not Bhubaneswar, Katakre Muratiri fast, and I am very proud to say that. तापरे 10 वर्ष पर आसले भुवनेश्वर मो अबिका 40 वर्ष ला ओडिशा में so yeah, my childhood was in Italy in a town called Bergamo, and it was my family was a very traditional and conservative family. My father was a professor of Italian literature, and my mother a headmaster, the headmistress. So I grew up in a very conservative Catholic family. Still, they mote nacha sikivaku 2-3 ବର୍ଷ ପଠେଇଥିଲେ classical ballet. କିନ୍ତୁ after 3 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସ୍କୁଲ ଟିକେ ବେଶୀ engage ହେଇଛି ମାନେ ବେଶୀ afternoon ପୁଣି ସ୍କୁଲରେ ଯିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିଲା ସେତେବେଳେ ସେ ନାଚର ଡାନ୍ସ ବାଲେ କ୍ଲାସରେ ସେ ବନ୍ଦ କରିଛନ୍ତି ସେ ମାନେ ଏତେ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାନ୍ସ ଦେଇନଥିଲେ କିନ୍ତୁ ସେଇଟା ମୁଁ ସେତେବେଳେ I was very docile ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ବାପା was the maximum authority in the family so ମାନେ ସିଏ ଯାହା କହିବେ ସେଟା କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ after me there was a brother and then one sister କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ବଡ଼ ଥିଲି ସେଥିପାଇଁ all the fast rebellion and fighting and all these things I had to do ସେମାନେ ମୋ ପରେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ already ରାସ୍ତା ଟିକେ clear ପାଇଛନ୍ତି so at that time when I was 11-12 years old ସେମାନେ ବନ୍ଦ କରିଛନ୍ତି ନାଚ ଶିଖିବାକୁ ସେତେବେଳେ ଏତେ ଇଏ ନଥିଲି ଏତେ courageous ନଥିଲି ସେ ମାନେ ବହୁତ ଦୁଃଖ ଲାଗିଥିଲା ସବୁବେଳେ ନାଚ ଦେଖିକିରି ସବୁ ଟିକେ ମୋ ରୁମ୍ରେ ଯିବି କାନ୍ଦିକିରି କିନ୍ତୁ ତାକୁ ରିବେଲିୟନ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଆଶା ନଥିଲା ତାପରେ ସେ ସମୟ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହୋଇଥିଲା ସବୁ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ feminist movement so all the students and occupation in the college I was in the liceo this equivalent to the like here would be 9, 10, 11 and 12 standard. I mean we had liceo. So seତେବେଳେ all the student occupation started. ଆମେ sitting କରିଥିଲେ institution ଭିତରେ ଆଉ ବନ୍ଦ କରିବା କବାଟ all the professor and they will be outside. They will not allow them to come. And we had all the the fighting against authoritarianism and the way they were imposing on us certain rules and all these things. The rebellions of the young students. So, I was part of all this. So slowly, I started to rebel against whatever Amakumpare imposed. Settebele kintu dance already it was too much gap in between. So ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ ଚାନ୍ସ ମିଳିଲା ଗୋଟେ theatre group ଥିଲା ମୋ ଟାଉନରେ Bergamo ସେତେବେଳେ I took part in it. There was a school theatre drama school. So ସେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ତାଙ୍କରି ଗୋଟେ female actress ଦରକାର ଥିଲା so ମୁଁ 6-7 ମାସ training ପରେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ stage ଉପରେ ମୋତେ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି. So ସେଟା I started to have a little more independence also financially from my parents so that was very important at that time. for us to be able to stand on our own. So that was a conventional theatre, mane acting as on a drama. That time was also the time in which experimental theatre started. Street theatre, physical theatre, theatre of Jerzy Grotowski from Poland. The emphasis was more on the body expression, not only on the recitation through the words. So sadly, I participated to some workshop of some actor who came from abroad. So at that point, I started to have my own group, but we didn't have any particular guidance how to improvise with the body. So we were going according to our improvisation without having any grammar behind. So during those years, I saw one Kathakali performance. One guru from Kerala came to Bergamo, my own place, and he demonstrated how his body, each movement of the body, from the facial muscle to the whatever small movement had a significance, with the meaning, with the expression pila. So he could express everything through the body movement. So for me it was a revelation. I actually cogitated with the grammar, how to have a systematic grammar of the body. So Semane demonstrate that here in India, in his own style, Kathakali, that grammar was there. So sange mane se tako demonstration sola pore, mu tako bachatri kenti ame sikhi pariva. ଆଉ ସେ ମୋତେ କହିଲେ ଆଉ କେତେ ୟଙ୍ଗ ପିପଲ୍ ତାକୁ ପଚାରିଥିଲେ ସେମ୍ ଜିନିଷ ସୋ ସେ କହିଥିଲେ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ୱାର୍କସପ୍ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜ୍ କରିବାକୁ ଯାଉଛି that in Kerala in Srikrishnapuram that was 1978 so ସେଟା April May it was starting from the month of June July August April May June from the 1st of April in 78 So that was around January 78 when he told me. So then I decided, yes, I will go and attend this workshop for 3 months. And so that was the time of turning point.
You learned Kathakali first, then you migrated to Chhau and now settled in Odissi. How do you see this roller coaster ride?
No, the itinerary is after 3 months of Kathakali in Kerala, say 78. Then I did a full performance of with all the attire, the green patch and the beard and the mukuta and the whatever I had learned. And after that performance, I was really taken so much that I asked Krishna Nambudiri, what can I learn? Because experience is strong, I couldn't just think to go back to Italy just like this. So I asked him and he told me about Odissi, not Chhau. He told me about Odissi. He said when he traveled abroad, Krishna Nambudiri, when he traveled abroad, he had met Sanjukta Panikrai abroad. So he liked the Odissi style very much. So that time, why he told me Odissi, consequences se koidarte mu follow korta. I didn't know anything else. So ଯେତେବେଳେ ଏଠି ଆସିଥିଲି ସେ 78 ମୁଁ ଏଠି ଆସିଲି ସଞ୍ଜୁନାନୀ ପାଖକୁ ଯାଇଥିଲି କେବଳ ଗୋଟେ ମାସେ ରହିଲି but I was too rough, I mean too new to the 3 ମାସେ Kathakali ପରେ ପୁରା ପାଦା କେମିତିଆ Kathakali and position of Kathakali ସାଙ୍ଗେ Odissi shift କରିକି it was not easy but ଟିକେ ଶିଖିକିରି ଫେରିଗଲି Italy and ସେଇଟା I utilized certain movements of Kathakali, certain movements of snake and movement of animals and certain movements of Odissi jo mane tike sikiteli to put up a play. It was still mane uddesho tila theatre work vitare kemti ye movement mo utilize koribi. That was the purpose. So in 79, 1st of June 79 when I came back, that intention was to stay 6 months in Odisha and 6 months in Kerala and to go back within 1 year to continue with my work in theatre. So this time when I came in June 79, ମୁଁ directly Guru Kelucharan Mohapatra pakku jai. So I told him, mane ମୋର English ଠିକ୍ ନଥିଲା, Guruji English ଜାଣି ନଥିଲି, ଯାହା ମାନେ ଟିକେ conversation ହେଇଛି. say I made him understand that I was here for 6 months. Say 6 mase to 6 ବର୍ଷ ହେଇଗଲା. Say 6 ବର୍ଷ ଭିତରେ ମୁଁ Italy ଆଉ ଯାଇନି. So everything disappeared. The Kerala, Italy, theatre, and only କେମିତି ମୁଁ ଗୁରୁଜୀଙ୍କ ଘରେ କେମିତି ପହଞ୍ଚିବି ସବୁଦିନେ କିଛି ମାନେ କିଛି ନ ମିସ୍ ନ କରିବି ସେତେବେଳେ ମୋର. So Chhau came after few months. ଏଠି ଗୁରୁଜୀଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ ଜୁନ୍ ଜୁଲାଇ ରହିକିରି ତାପରେ ଅଗଷ୍ଟ ମାସରେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ଗୁରୁଜୀ ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ଗଲେ ଗୋଟେ ୱାର୍କସପ୍ କରିବାକୁ. ମୁଁ ତାକୁ ଫଲୋ କରିଛି. ସେ ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗନ୍ଧର୍ବ ମହାବିଦ୍ୟାଳୟ ଗୁରୁଜୀ ଗୋଟେ ୱାର୍କସପ୍ କରିଥିଲେ ସେଠି ପାଖ ଭାରତୀୟ କଳା କେନ୍ଦ୍ର ଗୋଟେ ଯାଇଥିଲି ଟିକେ ଦେଖିବା ପାଇଁ. And by chance I went into the first room I went. There was a beautiful dance style which I saw for the first time. And it was a lady who was dancing with an old man with a big drum which accompanied her. So I was fascinated because the entire body movement was used. I mean, in Odissi, basic expression, footwork, and gesture. In the Chhau, it is a full body movement. So immediately I was fascinated. So I asked from where this style is, and this old man was Sri Krishna Chandra Naik, who was teaching in Bharatiya Kala Kendra, and he told me this is Mayur Banji Chhau from Odisha. So then I guess that was done because in any case, Amaro to Feriasi Bartila, Guruji Sangre. So once I came back from Delhi, then I went to Sri Hari Naik, who was teaching in Utka Sangita Mahavidyalaya, and I started my training in Chhau parallel to the Odissi one.
ଆପଣ ଗୁରୁ କେଳୁଚରଣ ମହାପାତ୍ରଙ୍କ ସହିତ ରହିଛନ୍ତି, ତାଙ୍କଠାରୁ ନୃତ୍ୟ ଶିଖିଛନ୍ତି, ତାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ବହି ବି ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, ଅଲସୋ ରିଟନ୍ ବୁକ୍ on it. ଆପଣ କେମିତି ଦେଖନ୍ତି, how do you see Guru, because he's the only Guru of Odissi, although we have other schools of Odissi, but କେମିତି, how do you difference between these three schools? No, there is ଦେବସାରଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ସ୍କୁଲ ଅଛି, କେଳୁବାବୁଙ୍କର ସ୍କୁଲ ଅଛି, ପଙ୍କଜଚରଣ ଦାସଙ୍କର ସ୍କୁଲ ଅଛି. So how do you see a difference between these three schools?
Well, the difference is very technical, so that should be demonstrated. So it's difficult to. But in a larger scale, one can say that Kelu sir is the one among the three who has gone to more in the making the style more scientific and more precise. So tankori attitude and brain tile je sabu bele research kortele, improve kortele, sabu bele tankori antenna kola tila. Mane kemtia au eta observation korsela bele he will bring this new observation into his dance. So in whatever he was teaching, it was his own composition. So because I was asking continuously, much more than jo mane oriya jo mo sangre sikitele se mane besi pachari notile. Kintu moro I had to understand the movement. I had to first understanding the meaning of that movement and then taking it into my body. So I couldn't just copy like this. So he was a creator of whatever he was teaching because he had composed all this. So for that I got so much attracted and so much involved into the dance. So the other two gurus, what one can say that Devaprasad Das was maybe he was able to also to write and read more than Kerubabu. So he has left behind some manuscripts, and he was researching a lot in the folk tradition. So his style maybe is the one which has remained more near to the folk from where the Odissi derived. And Pankaj Babu being in a family of Mahari, Devadasi, so he had built up his style around the ritual of the Devadasi. So certain names of steps and all these things are different from the one which started to be codified later on, because the codification started from 1955 onward. But whatever, Pankaj Babu also was part of this codification, but in his style he has retained some of the steps which he has learned from his auntie, who was a Mahari. So,
how do you see the dance scenario in India today? Because in this Instagram age and instant recognition, girls want instant recognition. But you have learned it through years. Now, how do you see the difference? Is it going to sustain?
Yeah, it's actually, I also sometimes think we all grow up and we made our own names and career through in years in which all this facility of digital facility was not there. So we didn't have a possibility to forget about Instagram and Facebook, even mobile or even telephone. I didn't have for many years. I didn't have even a landline. But still, with perseverance and dedication and all these things, to create contacts and to have possibility to perform, and so it was possible. Now everything is more quick and more facilitated in terms of publicity and in terms of contacts from abroad, how to work with WhatsApp, one can really talk, and so that time it was not even STD was there with abroad when I came in '79. So it's another scenario, but of course there is also the danger that many things which are projected in this digital media may not be true, or maybe amplified, or maybe, so you don't have much possibility to verify the trueness of the news which can project. Everybody can say that I have done so many things and then maybe it is not true. So, but finally I suppose the quality and the perseverance and the real commitment will come up. I mean, all the others will be eliminated in time. So, and in any case, there is no shortcut to achieve a certain experience, a certain quality in dance. So even if you project yourself, but then the substance is not there, you cannot demonstrate, then it will not be enough. I suppose there were quite difference in a sense that Mahari were female body, and they were more, they were the only one who was allowed to dance inside the temple, whereas the Gotipo has never been allowed inside the temple. And so they were more bhakti oriented, devotional oriented. Maybe the footwork, the acrobatic and all these things was not much part of the Devadasi dance, but the Abhinaya and the devotional aspect was more. So Gotipa started to be associated also with the rituals of Lord Jagannath, but outside the temple. And with time also, they started to be sponsored by the different zamindari. So the Gotipa Dolo, so the group, they were sponsored and maintained by them. So they became more commercialized. In fact, in the beginning of the last century, they didn't have much reputation because it was supposed to be a little bit cheap, the Gotipa dance, how it became. And in fact, I remember Guruji, when I was interviewing him for his book, he told me that his father, when he told that he wanted to go into the Mahasundradeva Goswami troupe, he said immediately, well, you want to go and do all the mimicry of the face and get pin your money on your things, you want to go do it, because that was the reputation which the Gotipa dance had. So, so both of them and the Devadasi dance also were almost finished by the beginning of the last century. Maybe one or two Devadasi were still dancing up to 1920 or so. So when the revival took place in the 1950s, actually very less has remained. 5 minutes of dance was there. The first performances which took place in the 50s after the independence were just 5-6 minutes long. So from that 5 minutes, now what it has become Odissi dance, that it is all to the creativity of these gurus, the pioneers of the revival.
You also acted in films.
No, it's not true. I'm not acted in film, I've done choreography for film. Yes. I've done choreography for Uganda, which was Aparna Sen film, for which I got National Award for Best Choreography. Then I've got done choreography for one Abararanye by Gautam Ghosh, and Meenakshi A Tale of Three Cities by Hussain, M.F. Hussain, the film by M.F. Hussain. So I done choreography for these 3 films. I didn't act in film. My thesis was in the department, in the Faculty of Philosophy in Venice, where I shifted because I was first in Milano, but when my interest became more into Eastern philosophy, in Milano they didn't accept me. Whereas in Venice there was a faculty for Eastern language where they were teaching Sanskrit and Hindi, and so then they were teaching Chinese philosophy, Japanese philosophy, Zazen, Buddhism. So these were all subjects which were there in the Eastern language faculty in Venice. So although I was in philosophy faculty, but when I shifted to Venice, I could do all my exams which were still left in this on this subject. So I did on Taoism, on Zen, on Buddhism, all my philosophical subjects shifted to the Eastern philosophy. And the key to understand this philosophy was given to me through Carl Gustav Jung, which is a psychoanalyst, which is after Sigmund Freud came Carl Gustav Jung, which was the second most famous psychoanalyst. So Carl Gustav Jung has opened me the door to understand all this different philosophy of the East. So my thesis at the end, it was on psychoanalysis and Eastern mythology, in a sense that I took 3 major archetypes, major symbols: the square, the circle, and the triangle. So these 3 symbols, I have analyzed it each in their own culture and through the lens of Jung, psychoanalysis. So this was my thesis.
What is the current work you have? What are you planning to do in the next stage?
See, every time we meet, we are open to new idea and we are searching for new idea for new composition. So my last year, for example, I did a choreography on the theme of refugee, because I was very impressed and by the problem of refugee, especially when I went back to Italy and I was reading in the newspaper or every day in the front page of the paper all this and see the images of these people on boat capsized, overturned in the sea, and people who were trying to land but they were not allowed, and kilometers and kilometers they had to walk before they crossing borders, and nobody wanted to accept them. So all these images was in me, so I did a choreography on this theme, for example. Then I did in the past choreography on Mother Teresa, on concept of time, on so every time new idea. So last choreography I did, it was Meghadutta by Kalidasa, so that was a classical text, but so beautiful. So with dance we can really deal with, once you have this grammar with you and this experience and aesthetic sense, you can really compose on any subject. So the time being now I have some ideas, but I have not yet decided for my next production.
You have also your own institute, Art Vision Academy. What does it do exactly?
Art Vision was founded in 1996, so we celebrated 20 years, 3 years ago. It was for both for organizing certain festivals and also for teaching to the students. So there is a repertory group, there is the Odissi dance classes, and Chhau classes also, whenever there are some students who want to learn Chhau. And we are organizing yearly certain festivals. For 5 years, 6 years I've organized Festival of Films on Performing and Visual Arts. And then I started in collaboration with Tourism Department, the Kalinga Mahotsav, which was performed from 2003 in front of the stupa, in Doli stupa. And then in 2011 it got combined with the Doli. So now you will have Doli Kalinga Mahotsav. When it was only Kalinga, it was only martial art. And then I organized Sangam Festival, which is our own festival where I present every year my new choreography. And I organized one festival remembering Guruji, that is for the 7th of April, for the death anniversary of Guru Gurucharan Mahapatra.
One last question. You have been living in Bhubaneswar for the last 40 years. Now, how do you see the change in Bhubaneswar? How it has changed over the years?
As I said,
People have seen you, going on a bicycle.
yeah,
People remember that.
my time with the Luna was in Cuttack. So from 79 to 91, for 12 years I was in Cuttack. So in 91 I shifted to Bhubaneswar. So actually the big changes already had started, and I always consider myself as a Cuttaki Bali, because I really had like a second childhood in Cuttack, because my training period happened there, and there I was going around with Luna. Then when I shifted to Bhubaneswar, in the beginning I was a little bit lost, because of the old town, which has a little bit an atmosphere of like Cuttack, then I could get myself a little more familiar and comfortable. So of course a lot of changes happened everywhere, but I should say that when I go back to Cuttack, I still feel that there are certain values are still there. So I'm sorry that I keep on talking about Cuttack, but when I came to Bhubaneswar, I was already, my training had already been advanced, and I was already more as a professional. But when I was really like a young, and also like a second childhood, when you really need a lot of affection around, then I got it in Cuttack by all the people over there who was so hospitable and so proud that I was there and I was staying there, and I was really a sight, because the only lady going around by Luna and all this thing. So by the time I came to Bhubaneswar, I had already a Maruti car. So and here of course there are many foreigners who come and go, so the people are a little bit more used, but you have imagined that in the 79, in the 80s, and all these things, I was the only one white skin roaming around in Cuttack, so that's why I was singled out.
That was Ileana Citaristi. She covered many areas in connection with dance, living, part of her growing up, etc. Now we have some questions from the audience. Any questions from the audience? Anyone like to ask? I have a question.
Madam, I have heard of you and I have seen. So I am NP Mahapatra, Nrsimha Prasad Mahapatra. I am from Dhenkanal district and I studied in Bhubaneswar. I am away from Odisha for last 30 years. I am working here and there for this thing. I was secretary of Lucknow Odia Samaj in 2004, where we invited Guruji to have a performance on 1st April 2004. And let me share with you, after the performance was over, Guruji told me that I want Sami Kebab and Rumali Roti. I took him, and that was non-veg. And he took it because he wanted that in Lucknow I should have it. And he took it, in a gully of Lucknow, she ate it and she released it. But it was unfortunate that on 6th April, he expired. This is the difference. This is the only one which is, and that was the last national performance I remember. I have still a question, and today I am getting, what was happening during 7 days? We didn't get anything of it. Really, how it happened, and he did so well there, and there was standing applause in Gandhi Bhavan on 1st April, Odisha, Utpal Devas night. But what exactly went on these 6 days? And just if you are having some experience, that's it. Thank you.
Actually, even he passed away on the 7th of April, and in the morning he was teaching. So even on the 7th of April, he was still absolutely fine. He had nothing happened during those 7 days. He was absolutely fine. And he went to the bathroom, and when he came out of the bathroom, he started to have chest pain. So immediately they took him to the hospital, and on the way to the hospital, he died. So it was absolutely heart attack, which didn't have any prior, he had done an operation many years before, but he had totally recovered because, as you said, on the 1st of April he was dancing. So there was no pre-announcement or anything, it just happened on the 7th morning, that heart attack. So.
One question, I had an interview with a great Guru Kulcharan Mahapatra on that day. Let me tell you one question and one answer. I asked that when you are going to the stage, ଆପଣ ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ନମସ୍କାର କାହିଁକି କରୁଛନ୍ତି? Why are you doing this? And his answer was simple, two things. I am making namaskar to the kid so he should not cry. I am making namaskar to the people who are having mobile. I am having the namaskar to the people who are talking. I give him a big hand. I want a space to perform. Please give him a big hand. Guru Kulcharan Mahapatra. That was the answer.
Madam, question myself, Jagannath Mahanti, I am from Puri district. My two questions. One is whether nature of this classical nature of Odissi has been established or is there any doubt or not? Number two question. You are born in Italy. Tell us how do you feel by putting on sindoor and this bangle and putting on sarees?
The classical, you are talking about classic Odissi dance or Odissi music?
Is there a doubt regarding the classicism of Odissi dance?
Dance, okay. No, I mean that has been clear long ago. Even when 1956, when there was the first Jayantika 58. Before that, there was this All India dance seminar organized by Sangeeta Academy in Delhi. So where Chal Fabri saw the dance for the first time, Jayanti Ghosh danced that time, and Kavisuja Kalicharan Patnaik read a booklet on the classicism of Odissi. So from that time, it has been accepted as there is no date or no stamp or anything where from which day exactly was declared classical. It has been accepted as classical. So it was a process on its own. It self-demonstrated to be classical. So this argument is still going on. Sometimes people are asking, we have the documents where we can prove exactly that from that day it became classical. There was a stamp on it. No, it doesn't exist, that document. So it has been accepted on its own. It has been started to be invited in all the classical conference. So at the same time with Bharatanatyam, Kathak, whenever there was a classical dance conference, Odissi would be invited. So it began to be accepted as classical in that way. So there is no doubt about that. Although according to me, we have still a lot of work to do in the theory part of it, because the theory part which has started in Jayantika and all these things, it got too much early disrupted, and we still have to systematize the theory, and between the different guru we have still a lot of doubts what to teach exactly in the theory part. In the practical part it has grown a lot. So, but as far as classicism is concerned, it has been accepted. And about my appearance, it came gradually. So that's why the greatness of Guruji also was that he didn't impose on me anything. So se mate jodi koitante nei tu kalli asibo sari pindibo bindi pindibo ye pindibo mo settebele mane I was not ready to change so quickly. So se mane opekya korchanti that mane slowly gote dine moro so bahut bala tila to pura curling hair all open on my face. So gote dine mo tight korteli class re golli Guruji kole finally I can see your face. So he didn't tell me, no, you have to come and comb your... No, but Jodine mu korichi se ye karte. Tapore my first sari, then ornaments, the bindi. All this came, maybe it took 1 year, 1.5 years to enter into my way of being. So nobody imposed on me that. So that was important, because at that point I was still... Some rebellion in me was still there, so I would not have accepted any imposition. So that's why then it became natural.
What is your best feeling in putting on those things?
Best feeling?
In putting on those things, like sindoor, bangles?
Oh, I think they're very elegant, and aesthetically I like it. And when after 6 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇଟାଲୀ ଫେରି ଗଲି first time, I was wearing all my silk Sambalpuri sari, and they thought that I was like a queen. That time everybody was admiring so much the texture and the dress. So yeah, I think it's very elegant.
ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଆସିଲେ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଆପଣ ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ଖାଦ୍ୟ ଫୁଡ୍ ରୁଚିଟା ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଲା ସେତେବେଳେ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଖାଦ୍ୟ କେମିତି ଲାଗୁଥିଲା ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ କାଳରେ ଏଇ 40 ବର୍ଷ ଭିତରେ ଆପଣ କୋଉ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଖାଦ୍ୟ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଭଲ ଲାଗେ?
Still the same. For 12 years in the breakfast mo chuda dhahi khadoli khaichi, same breakfast. Tapore after 12 years I shifted to dalia. So every morning dalia. And moro mane khaiba to kete kosto mane kichi kosto koruni. I don't like to cook. So whenever mane kiye mate dakibe gore je kosi jinsu se mate debe, I'll be very very happy. And only things I don't like too much spicy and too much oil. So if anybody wants to invite me, please remember no spicy, no oil. Whatever it is, I like veg, non-veg, everything. Non-veg I take less, but when I came, I was totally veg. When I came to India in 79, I was a veg because at that time it was important in Italy to be rebellion and to be vegetarian because everybody was non-veg. Tapore eti 4-5 ବର୍ଷ ହେଲା ପରେ ଗୋଟେ ଦିନେ ଗୁରୁଜୀ ଘରେ ତ workshop ଚାଲିଥିଲା ଆମେ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ସକାଳେ ରାତିରେ ସେଠି ଥିଲୁ summer workshop. So Guru Ma was giving food to everybody. ସେଦିନେ ସେ କହିଲା ଆଜି ଭେଜ୍ କିଛି ନାହିଁ କେବଳ non-veg ଯଦି ଖାଇବ ନହେଲେ ତ ବାସ୍ ଆଉ କିଛି ନାହିଁ. ସେଦିନେ I thought there is no point in having to be strictly veg here because I depend on so many circumstances. So then I break it and so whatever. And I was paying guest in a Silent Roy house for 12 years. So Silent Roy's wife was cooking for themselves and giving to me the same food. So whenever there was fish, I was remaining without, and it was not sufficient. So I thought it's better to open up and to eat whatever they give. In any case, there was no excess of non-veg. That was happening once in a while. So I became non-veg for practical reason. But I can go back to veg if somebody cook for me veg forever. I become veg.
I apologize if my question is going to be irrelevant. I'm afraid it may be. I just want to know, my name is Bibhu Patnaik. I just want to know how you relate to Jagannath.
How I relate. I think Jagannath decided for me to be here. So I am at his wish, at his will, whatever he decided for the future. Because how it is that you are in Odisha since so long. And I said, how can I reply? I think Jagannath already decided. So whatever he wants, I am ready. Also, I am here alone. There is no family or sibling for me here. But still, I got so much love from everybody. So I think his wish, and I feel it like a friend. And I don't particularly do any extra rituals. For me, dance is my everything, my sadhana, my bhakti, my worship, my discipline. So, and that is in dance, whatever we are doing is Jagannath is everywhere. So that's it.
So we come to this end to this session. Thanks so much. Anek dhanyawad.
I am personally indebted to Ileana Madam for, in spite of her busy schedule, she has come. She had to rush and go. I know her program is tomorrow, day after tomorrow, in South India. And thank you, ma'am, for being here and enlightened to our audience.